A gritty look at deep-sea commercial fishing, Deadliest Catch also provides a raw glimpse into the lives of ship crew members. Captain Jake Anderson especially has endured a number of personal setbacks and tragedies, both before his stint as a reality television star and while the cameras were rolling.
Had it all and lost it in seconds. I'm thinking, why wouldn't you just quit?
Before he became a professional fisherman and television star, Jake Anderson aspired to be a pro skateboarder. A severe injury precluded that career choice and left Anderson struggling to move forward. He told the Skagit Valley Herald, "I kind of gave up on everything." Anderson began to misuse prescription medication and methamphetamines in his early 20s. After healing from his injury enough to give skateboarding another attempt, he began to take another drug, Adderall. Prescribed as a treatment for attention deficit hyperactivity disorder, Anderson believed the pills improved his skateboarding. They didn't, and he became so profoundly addicted that he alienated friends and couldn't secure housing. Anderson would ultimately go unhoused in his hometown of Anacortes, Washington for 2 years. He explained, "There was nowhere to go. I can't express the humiliation one feels at 4 or 5 in the morning, and all you can do is watch yourself walk up and down the streets." Shortly after his 24th birthday, Anderson sought out sobriety with a move to Alaska and a job on a fishing boat. After a relapse, he joined a more formal program and kicked drugs for good. He's reportedly been sober since 2010.
Because I'm an alcoholic myself. You compromise my sobriety.
Anderson joined Deadliest Catch in 2007, right about when he began his career in commercial fishing. He was brought into the business by his uncle, original cast member and former Northwestern deckhand Nick Mavar. Anderson would eventually co-captain that vessel, while Mavar would leave the show in the 2020s after tearing his appendix and being diagnosed with cancer. Anderson's uncle retired from reality TV fishing, but not the industry, operating a salmon fishing business in Bristol Bay, Alaska. In one of the biggest tragedies that have come out about Deadliest Catch, Mavar's body was found on the ground at a boatyard in Naknek, Alaska on June 13, 2024. At a nearby hospital, the doctors declared Mavar dead. The cause of death? A sudden health emergency during an odd accident. Initially reported as natural causes, Anderson later learned that his uncle and fellow fisherman fell off of a ladder on a dock when he was beset by a heart attack. Mavar was 59 years old. 2 days after Mavar's death, Anderson posted a poem of praise called Measure of the Man to his Facebook page, dedicated to his Uncle Nicky. But that wasn't the first family tragedy in Anderson's life. Out at sea and hundreds of miles away from his hometown of Anacortes, Anderson learned in the Season 5 Deadliest Catch episode, Bitter Tears, that his older sister, Chelsea Anderson, had been rushed to a medical facility and shortly thereafter died from issues related to pneumonia. Chelsea's death in February 2009 capped a life characterized by chronic illness. Around the age of 2, she was diagnosed with juvenile rheumatoid arthritis, a condition that can lead to pain in the joints, slowed growth, and inflammation.
She was hurt real bad her whole life.
On the anniversary of his sister's death in 2020, Anderson divulged the details of the tragic event. He wrote on Facebook, "Before my sister died at the doctor's office, she was arguing with my mom about how she didn't need to go. She was fine. She died 20 minutes later while my mom was in the waiting room." Chelsea Anderson had lost many of her physical facilities by her mid-30s, at which point she developed seizures and abscesses, then became addicted to prescription pain medications and was diagnosed with schizophrenia. She was 37 years old when she died, but she wasn't Anderson's only family member to suffer a tragic fate. A year later, Anderson's family was rocked by a mystery that, once resolved, still didn't offer up many answers. In January 2010, his father, Keith Anderson, left his home in Anacortes, intending to meet an unnamed friend in the town of Arlington, about 40 miles away. The elder Anderson, who departed with only a little cash and was reportedly dealing with depression, never returned. Weeks later, his truck was discovered and identified by authorities on a logging road in rural Skagit County, Washington. Little trace of him remained in the vehicle. More than 2 years later, a hiker came across skeletal remains less than a few miles from where Keith Anderson had abandoned his truck. Authorities identified the bones as belonging to him. That closure of sorts came for Jake Anderson days before an episode of Deadliest Catch aired, which showed the fisherman coping with grief and lingering questions as he surveyed the area where his father's truck had been discovered. Keith Anderson died at the age of 62.
Was he happy when he was here?
He was really happy, like he was satisfied.
If you or anyone you know needs help with addiction issues, help is available. Visit the Substance Abuse and Mental Health Services Administration website or contact SAMHSA's national helpline at 1-800-662-4357. If you or someone you know needs help with mental health, please contact the crisis text line by texting HOME to 741-741.